There we go. Jay with Mobile Home Partners here, bringing you a very special guest, Mark Anthony. Thank you for joining us, Mark. How you doing?
Man, good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys having us here.
Yes, sir. Short notice, and you made it through. You always do. It seems like you're always available. I love that. Some people
Yeah,
can call, and 3 days later, hey, what you need? Nothing now. But so no,
right.
thank you for that. But
No
how
worries.
life have you? How have you been, and what is new?
Man, just making some shifts, making some adjustments. I'm trying to kick off the rest of 2020 with a bang, So far it's been pretty good. Been fortunate enough here in AZ. We didn't really get that affected by all this pandemic stuff. We've been pretty much unaffected in most cases, except for like
Well,
large franchise, big box stores and franchise stores that are nationwide. And when those nationwide stores close down, they obviously close down nationwide. But outside of that, that's only a really part of Arizona that's been affected. So,
Arizona. That's where Arizona. Yeah. Okay. So
yep.
little different out there, a lot hotter. I'm sure. I've never been.
Yeah, so nobody really catches colds or get flus here because it's too hot. So it never really was a worry in the first place.
Okay, okay. Well, good, good. So you've
Fortunate enough.
always had a lot of good tips. You've let me in on a lot of different parts of investing that I didn't know even existed. So I mean, that's awesome. But last we spoke on, you were actually now getting into containers. Tell
Yeah,
us.
yeah, we're working on a smart city development project, using shipping containers as a way to create a modular style mobile home that was a lot easier to move and a lot more durable than mobile homes or modulars and easier to transport. And we're going to be incorporating a lot of smart technology and green tech that we have some patents on to help us back a tokenized economy. If
Mhm.
anybody isn't familiar with that, we're using a blockchain software, I guess we call it, an infrastructure,
Okay.
um, basically to back our program, our project. And all of the coins are going to be backed by some of the natural and I guess to say natural resources. They would be natural resources that our green tech uh,
Mhm.
creates, being hydrogen fuel, stored energy, carbon fiber, and all that's going to be backed by our token economy. So all of our coins represent all of the green tech and all the resources that we're able to pull from the economy. So it goes back and everybody earns dividends off of that. So that's what's going to be really the main focus, is what makes the containers worth using the renewable energy
Sure.
and resourcing resources and multiple use, trying to become more self-sufficient and reusing old stuff and becoming more self-sufficient. Now that a lot of the manufacturing and a lot of the shipping industries, big wave, globally right now,
Yeah.
there's a big demand for housing, for manufacturing, and there's a large supply of shipping containers and affordable housing. There's a lot of different things that are going on, especially with plastic, where there's just a lot of opportunities to service a lot of the needs in our communities. And we're bringing some of those needs together in this one project and trying to solve multiple problems with it. So that's kind of where the containers come into play.
Yeah.
Building multi-story modular units that are just extremely easy to transport.
I mean, you got modular homes, tiny homes, mobile homes, and now
Yeah,
containers. That's a whole
yeah,
new concept. I mean, I don't think most
yeah,
people even know about it yet. That's new to me.
yeah.
So,
It's big mainly in Europe and overseas. They've been
yeah,
on it for about a decade or so now. It's starting to catch up over here on the commercial level. Most of the stuff has been do-it-yourself. I mean, we've all seen the mobile mini office containers and the storage containers in the military using shipping containers, but on a commercial level, it really hasn't tapped into America's mainstream yet. On a do-it-yourself and residential backyard level, yeah, thanks to the internet. But on a commercial level, there's only a few properties. We have 3 properties here in Arizona that are commercial properties using containers. We're working with that architect too. His name is Brian Stark. Um, there are 2 apartment complexes. One is 16 units and the other is 8 units. And the first floor underneath the 8 units is commercial spaces. And one of them happens to be his architectural firm where his office is, and then they lease the condos in this case above, and then they also have a marketplace in downtown Phoenix that's basically just like a tiki bar, I guess you would say. There's a bunch of little bars, and the bars use containers and stuff like that, and it creates a little food court, kind of like how it is on Fremont Street in Las Vegas, where they have the Container City out there for the little park. It's similar to that, but just smaller scale. But just using a lot of the resources from around the country that are waste in some people's eyes, and reusing them and finding other purposes for them, and creating, you know, efficient, affordable options for people, and solving a few problems at the same time.
How safe is, when I think of container, I'm thinking metal box.
Mm-hmm.
How safe
Depends
is
on what. There's different types of containers. There's different
Okay.
grades. Okay, so the ones that we're most familiar with seeing are what's called one trip containers, where they just send them over, and they're just used for one trip, and they're really cheap, and you know, they're just the ones that we see just to ship regular stuff in, and they just send them across the ocean, and that's it. Those are really low grade because they're not really that important, you know. There's kind of 4 grades: A, B, C, and D, I would say. Then you get ones that are cargo worthy. Those are a little bit better than one trip. They're good for maybe 10 to 12 years.
Okay.
And then there's other ones that are wind and water tight. Those are ones that would use for like the mobile mini offices and things like that. They're just different grade, higher quality metal, higher quality seals and welds, and waterproofing and weatherproofing ceramic paint on them that just help them withstand elements, you know, especially ones that are carrying bananas and oranges from Panama
Mhm.
to your local Costco, you know, all across the ocean. They can't get too hot in there or too cold because the bananas and the
Right.
oranges, all that will go bad. So they have different quality containers. The ones that we'd be using in specific are the highest grade, wind and watertight, CCS approved containers that are approved for housing if you wanted to use
Mhm.
it, or offices and things of that. When it comes to insurance, on an insurance level, if you wanted to get insurance on it,
Sure.
they made all those qualifications.
Definitely new to this. I'll probably come up with 1,000 more questions, and I'm sure some
Yeah.
people watching this video will as well. But you started out with mobile home, right?
Yep. Traditional, actually, single family homes.
Single real estate. Okay, stick
Yep.
built.
Yep.
Okay.
Stick bill.
But in the sense of mobile homes, how long have you been investing in those little boxes?
Probably around November 2015.
Okay, so a few years.
Yeah, about four going on to 5 years.
Right. Now you
Yeah.
do it at a lot larger scale than your typical mobile home investor, who comes in, and like me, I still do typical come in, rehab, and rent it or flip it or whatever. I mean, you're moving these things left and right. What is the biggest thing you do on mobile homes right now?
I'd say, well, right now in Arizona, there's a lot of parks shutting down. A lot of the city, um, kind of the city planning vision for the next 10, 20 years for the city is more apartments and high rises. And we're in the 70s, it was mobile homes, mobile home parks, mobile homes, and mobile home parks everywhere. And now the city is trying to like upgrade, and they're changing their vision on how they want to look. So day by day, mobile home parks are closing, and none are opening them up. So what we've been doing, like when they close, is getting exclusive contracts with those parks and not charging them anything to get those homes removed from their parks, and let us facilitate getting them all out. So we've done that with a few parks, and that's probably the biggest thing, because then we're able to sell every single one of those homes or move them to a private piece of land, and get it installed and get mortgages out on them and build lines of credit to do more investing.
You don't see mobile home parks as something going away, do you?
Shit, with my container homes, I bet. I hope so.
Really?
Yeah, I hope to take them over with containers. And then we don't have just 1-story mobile homes. We got 2, 3-story
Yeah, you start building
units.
upwards. Now you got apartment style. No, I love it. I love that concept. But
Mm-hmm.
it makes me a little worried about my mobile homes. Of course, that's
They're
probably
replaceable. That's the best part. They're movable. They're mobile, so you can always take one out, put a new one in, take it out, put something else in.
sure.
They allow a lot of flexibility, unlike stick built real estate, where You get stuck, you know, you got to demo this whole thing to move a mobile home. Is extremely
Yeah.
easy compared to demoing and building from
Come
foundation.
in, come in, hook
So
up, and take it somewhere else. Yeah, for
that's the
sure.
extremely fortunate part. That's what separates this from all other forms of real estate. All other forms of real estate are location, location, location. With mobile homes, it's where do you want it? Where do you want me to put this thing?
Sure, sure. Okay, with of course the exception of you got the rule. What is it, 1976 and under? You can't move them or whatever.
There's exceptions to those rules in every rule. So
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
to get
So
with you on that on another video then.
yeah,
I got.
there's ways around it. I mean, as long as it can pass inspection, that's what it really comes down to. Is it
Okay.
passing inspection once it's installed in the new location? Now, homes before 1976, before HUD, they didn't have to qualify to see if they had lead paint or galvanized plumbing.
Mhm.
So those two things won't pass health inspections or a HUD inspection. Now, if you were to redo those two whole things, yeah, you could put it anywhere, but to redo like the whole plumbing of a whole house, usually charge about $8,000. I've heard that like across the board nationwide,
Yeah.
um, which it doesn't really seem that hard to do if you do it yourself, but apparently people charge pretty well for it. So
Right. Okay.
usually
Yeah.
it never makes sense. Another exception, other than redoing all the plumbing, is depending on the state, is if you could put them on a farm or a ranch, because a lot of farms or ranches don't need permits for anything. They can do whatever they want because they're like off grid and they're just out on the farm. They don't need a building permit to put a
Okay.
fence around their cows. It's one of those kind of things.
Okay.
So they can put them out there, and a lot of times farms and ranches will use them for employee housing or chicken coops, or who knows, they'll find something for it.
Storage, something. Yeah. No. That. Okay.
We
Okay. I like.
sell tons of, especially single wides, really, really long ones, like 70-foot single wides. We sell a lot of those to farms.
Yeah.
Almost
Okay.
almost all of them. All of our like 16 by 70 homes, they almost always go to farms for some reason.
Anybody listening and have something older than that before you trash it or demolish it, here's a good idea. That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. Mark Anthony's got them. So okay.
yeah, they'll take
Uh,
them.
where do you see affordable housing post COVID, whenever that is?
Hmm. I think it puts people in the mobile home industry in a good position. Especially since a lot of people are doing seller financing and things like that, where it's just a extremely affordable option. I know here in Arizona, it's extremely noticeable because we have a huge Mexican population. So you can see the large gap in income and where they are, it's not that they're poor. They have cash. There's no doubt. They usually all have their own business of some sort, another landscaping, roofing, painting, whatever it is to be their trade. They have cash, but they don't have credit. But they're able to save up 20, 30, 40, $60,000 no problem and buy a mobile home cash, where if you can't do that with any other home in most parts of America. Some parts of America, if you're rural outside the city, usually if you're like 50 miles away from the city, yeah, you probably get away from that. But anywhere within like a 50-mile radius of any city in the country, that's not affordable living, and it starts at 120,000 anywhere 50 miles from a city. So it allows people who are doing mobile homes huge opportunities, especially, what we focus on is moving mobile homes to land. That's the one and only thing we do. And the only thing we will do. We really won't do anything else but that. It doesn't make sense. For the amount of money that we'd have to put into to acquire land and to get the home moved and installed, it doesn't even make sense flipping and fixing regular real estate either.
Right.
Depending on the areas, it all comes down to what you can get comps for once you do install the home, and you get comps to other properties around it, and how much you can sell that home per square foot. So like typically we look to put homes where we can sell it for like $110 a square foot and up, and just get as big a size homes as we can, usually always double wides. And then just get land as cheap as we can, either through foreclosures, through taxes, through auctions, however we can get land really cheap, because we all know we can get mobile homes cheap.
Right.
And then once you put the two together, then your after repair value, you're just if you can sell any size home for, you know, at least $100 a square foot in any market, you know, our numbers are looking good for how much we get these mobile homes for and the size of them, you know.
That is actually one tip that the first time I met you, that's what you brought to my attention. I had never thought about that. Is, you know, I'm a mobile home investor strictly. Not that I limit myself, but you brought that concept. I had never thought about a land package deal. If you could get a mobile home and a piece of property somewhere, turn around and almost sell like real estate. I mean, there's a lot more win in this situation.
Depending on the size of the property, you can fit a few trailers on it
There you
and
go.
start to split it up. I mean, the
Okay.
opportunities are endless, you know.
Sure. You mentioned Hispanic being a big customer out there. Would you say that's the biggest customer in Arizona where you're at?
Almost, well, for my types of deals, because we only move homes, we don't finance
Okay.
homes. So uh, it's a different demographic. I guess you'd
Okay.
say if we were to finance homes, we'd probably get different demographics.
Sure.
But yeah, primarily, they're the ones who have the largest need in this market because of the fact that they really are from Mexico, like, you know, a year ago. Most likely they've walked here from Tucson, like 300 miles across the desert, for real, like 6, 8, 9 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. And they can only do it during the summer because the Border Patrol, they have these infrared cameras that can sense heat. And if you're running through like the desert when it's 80 degrees outside and your body's 98.6 degrees, you can see the 98.6 degrees block. But when the desert's 120 degrees and then you see you running around, you ain't gonna see it on a heat camera. So like they go through the you know, so much determination to get here and make a better life. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Nobody get any ideas out of this, by the way. We're gonna keep this legal.
But I
Okay,
mean, it's incredible because
sure.
they come here and they work and they save up money and they get their piece of land and they get a home and then they get their American dream. You know,
Sure.
that's it. You know, they win.
Yeah.
You know, they come
No,
here,
no,
they
no.
work hard and they save up their money and they stack up all their cash because they don't have credit. They don't have a social security number, so they can't get background checks. It's not like they can go rent an apartment like that. Or even go get into a park. If they do go into a park, they have like a cousin or somebody who has papers do their applications for them. And then they live with them until they can save enough money to buy their piece of land cash, buy a trailer, get it moved, and then they'll fix it up. Then they'll fix the whole thing up themselves, even the worst homes. They'll be like, it's cool, my tio, my cousin, he does tile, he'll come in, he'll do the shower, he'll paint it, it's okay, we'll fix it. and
Definitely,
they're so happy about it, you know. And
they're grateful. Sure.
oh man, an American
Sure.
dream, you
And
know.
nothing against any, of course, race here, but it seems like the Hispanic people, they know how to do everything in a house. They can remodel these things in and out. Wow.
Yeah,
Like,
they'll do it themselves, you know. They'll work hard for what they want, and they take care of their stuff, man. You know.
sure, sure. Okay. Interesting
So
topic
they're
there.
great. I mean, there's so many times where we go to Home Depot where we're getting stuff, and we'll see somebody and they'll be like, hey, and it's come and say hi. Like, how do you know what? And you recognize us in a store? That's how many houses we've sold and moved. I don't. Oh,
That's
weird, you
awesome.
know.
That's awesome. Recognition. Absolutely. You do plenty of it. So, okay. So I started mobile home investing 4 years ago. And when I started, either I wasn't really looking around. I was not much of a networking person anyway, but it didn't seem like there was really anybody that was doing mobile home investing. And if there was, they were real low key, kind of keep it yourself, you kind of thing. Now I can go on Facebook, Craigslist, wherever, and there seems to be a wholesaler in every other corner, every street corner.
Yeah,
Same for mobile home investor. It just seems to be growing for sure.
fast, like rapid fire, and rightfully so, and it should. It's going to help a lot of people on both ends of the spectrum. So it's good that it is, you know, and it allows us to spread out and get access to more deals, you know, as more people hit more corners that we would have never been able to hit by ourselves. So it's worked out. You know, that was one of the first things I was worried about here in Phoenix when it was like me, Jay, and Samara, and the three of us getting started, and all of us in the same city with the same mentor. Not like competing. We definitely want to compete because we're friends, but it was like, oh man, how are all three of us going to do business with the same mentor right here in the same city? You
Yeah,
know, like,
I mentioned that a lot to some of the students I do too, as well. There's too much competition. I tell them I don't see people as competition. I see them as people you can network with. You can get a deal
Collaboration,
to
yeah.
them, you can get a deal to them, and it just
Yep.
allows for a bigger business. So there's no such thing. I don't see it that
Yeah.
way.
No, it's better to collaborate because then you get a little something off every deal. Everybody wins every time, and we compete. People lose out. But if everybody works together, everybody gets a little something every time. It's better than nothing.
Yeah,
No.
don't cut anybody out. Don't do no
No.
cut load.
So
Keep
we
people.
always find ways to work together. I mean, there's a bunch of people in the city. They always find deals, or they find buyers, or they'll facilitate the deal if they're busy, and they'll go and do DMV and do the paperwork and meet with people. I mean, there's plenty of ways to get people involved where people can bring value to one another, and you can create strategic partnerships, and everybody can find a way to win.
Great niche for sure. What is one thing you can say to somebody getting started in the mobile home business investing?
Really, I spend most of my focus on the community's needs, finding buyers, and finding what they want. Almost all my focus is never finding inventory. It's finding people to buy inventory when I do get it, or finding people who have money that want something to buy, and then go find it for them. Because I might have more resources and connections than they do. But always finding people who need help, who need a home to buy, and trying to help a lot of those people and get them homes. More so, the way I look at it is, if every buyer lead you had gave you a business card with a phone number on it, and you put them all in your pocket, you think of how big your pocket would have to get for you to make $100,000 if every one of those business cards came with a paycheck, because they're the buyers. They got money for you as soon as you service them. So I'm always thinking of filling up my pocket with paychecks, and trying to find as many buyers as I can, and spending a lot of time building leads and communicating with them, and seeing what they need, and seeing what I can do to help them or service them. And even if there's ways, not there's people who ask me if I move homes to California and Nevada. I mean, I personally don't with my trucks, but I know people who will, and will still find ways to service it. And I'll call somebody up and be like, hey, I got this person. I'll bring it to courtside if you want to pick it up halfway and bring it the rest of the way.
Okay.
We'll still find ways to service, people who are in need, and try to make things happen for them.
Thank
Because a
God
lot
the
of times when people come to needing to buy a mobile home, it's because their lease is up, or they were forced out of their last home for some reason or another, unfortunately, or they just have to make a decision. They're looking for homes, usually looking for a while, and can't find the right one, and just helping them, find the right home, where they can, make a home out of it. That's where they're going to live and sleep and laugh and love and cry.
No,
It means a lot.
that's great. That's what is that? The Apple way. Supply the demand. I mean, what they need is what I'm gonna create for them. The same way here. I actually tell this to a lot of people that are starting to get into wholesale. It's like, what if I lock up a property and I don't have anybody to buy it? I
That's
tell you, that's the
terrible.
same problem that you should think prior to, is you should have somebody already wanting it. That the
Yeah.
second you put in the contract from A to B, you should already have B and C ready to go. Or you're going to be
Yeah.
stuck in a situation like that. Then it's your name
Yeah.
out.
It's very stressful having a home under contract with no buyers, but having a bunch of buyers and no home isn't stressful, but it's a good problem to have when there's people calling you saying, hey, I thought you said you were going to have a house for me by Tuesday. Like, well, where's the house? I need to buy a house. What can I buy from you? I need to pay you something so I can buy something from you.
I get those calls. I don't have enough. You never have enough inventory. I got a list of probably 1,000 buyers and not enough inventory. So it is
That's
a
the
good
problem you
problem.
want to have. Yeah.
One of those, like, I got to brand and market a little better or something. I got to get a lot more material for these people. So it's definitely, but it's a good one. Yeah, yeah. I've been stuck before where I couldn't sell, and I ended up basically wholesaling to a wholesaler who had a buyer, and it just like take it kind of thing. So I didn't want
Yeah, those work too, as long as everybody gets what they need.
right. So okay. Anything specific a new beginner in mobile home investing should do? Education or just getting started? I hear that a lot. Is I don't know where to get started.
Find buyers, and the buyers will tell you where to get started. They'll tell you they need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. and they got $12,000. You can spend all week looking for what you got to look for where you can make $12,000 work.
There you go. Simplify it. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just work backwards. That's always where I start. And the first question I ask them, if I don't have inventory, is oh man, I get new inventory every day. What do you need? A single wide or a double wide? How many bedrooms? I can start looking for it right away. Start calling people, start looking around when I'm driving through parks, and start looking for stuff I wouldn't have looked for yesterday, and see something new, even though I drive by it every day, you know. And
Should,
you never know.
should people educate themselves with a mentor, coach, or some type of mobile home investing education, or jump
They
in?
should educate themselves on all of your state and county's rules and regulations on mobile homes. Go by the law, and if you're well versed with the law, you can't go wrong. Can't lose in court. That's the only place that matters. Know the law in your area. Know your rules and regulations in your county and in your state. Know them all. Know them all. And as long as you study that, you're good. And you can never lose in court because you know what you're doing.
That's good. That's good from a legal standpoint. Definitely, I tell people, and now to add to that is definitely your legal rights, I guess. But because that's huge. But I usually tell people, you can learn too much and reconfuse yourself.
Yeah.
Learn what you need or feel like will help you. Jump in and figure it out.
Yep.
Stop trying to read 1,000 books before you even go search. Get that one deal, and that's going to teach you more than any book's going to bring to you. So, or better help understand it. So, okay, Mark, pleasure having you on here, man. I got to ask, what is next for Mark?
Oh man, so we just closed. Well, we didn't close. We just started working with a mobile home park that was closing down. They were turning it into an apartment complex, and our deal was we didn't charge the park again anything to get the homes removed for them. No charge. We'd remove all the homes. In contingent, we could sell the homes and then move them ourselves, And they were okay with that because they needed it all gone, and they were building an apartment complex there. So that got started, and right when we signed the deal, COVID outbreak went crazy, and all the airlines started shutting down, and the company that originally bought it to build the apartment complex lost their building loan. And it was all the way bad. So they lost their whole deal. And so here we are moving all these mobile homes out and doing what we got to do, whatever, and selling all these houses. And it's like 43 of them. We were down to like 4 left, maybe 5 left. And they get a call saying that their lending backed out. And now that the city's opening back up, they're going to start issuing fines on all the trash debris that was there, because they had tractors there cleaning everything every day until they lost their funding. Then the tractors went home, and now there's all this debris and trash and all this crap, and they're incurring fines, but they have no money. And so what we're trying to do now is work out a deal to take over all the liability and responsibility and all the fines and clean the rest of the property as our down payment. And then get the property with no money down and no money for the first 2 years until any plans, if we have like building plans approved, contingent upon our building plans approved. And then once our plans are approved, we can renegotiate a deal. So potentially maybe even got this land for free and can draft together a development for it, or maybe even sell it to somebody else. And we got 2 years to figure that out before we got to pay for it. So it's a really, really sweet location right off the highway. It's like 7 acres. It's probably worth like $20 million as is.
Wow.
And if we were to develop it, maybe like $200 million. So we're trying to look at a few options to see if we can get some timelines and some quotes from some builders, and see if we can build something there, build something cool there. We're not sure yet. It's all what the city will approve. Sure. So we're going to try to go as far as we can, maybe with our smart city concept. But it's all contingent upon the city approval. So we'll see what the city allows in that neighborhood. It's a really like HOA particular neighborhood, I guess you would call it. But we're going to test it. And if not, got 7 acres in that neighborhood that's worth well more than what we're able to get it for. So we're trying to work on that deal this week. So hopefully in the next few days, we'll have some stuff written up and signed. And
sounds like you got your hands full. Definitely keep on growing. Every time I talk to you, you got something huge coming up, so that's awesome.
Not
Okay,
bad.
Mark, if anybody wanted to get a hold of you for a mobile home or a service or any of that assistance, can they? And if so, how?
Anywhere on Facebook, you can find us at Unstoppable Transport or Arizona Mobile Homes. Search any of those two things, our Facebook groups, our Facebook pages. You can contact us through us messenger there, and it goes right to my phone, so I'll see it right there.
Okay. You'll definitely be hearing from me. I'm going to call you in the next couple of days to talk more about this containers. I'm intrigued.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll show you some of the projects and some of the other projects that we've worked on.
Okay. All right, Mark, I'm not going to take any more of your time. Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
joining us. As always, pleasure speaking with you.
I'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks.